retired, leaving Korea, and came back, and it was tough.
Welcome to the Healed Circle. All right, so this is where
I can tell you the difference.
Okay, yeah, tell me the difference. Good morning. Welcome to Healed, everyone. I'm Seth, the speaker. This is going to be a great episode, y'all. This is going to be super dope. We're going to have a conversation about the freedom from the past. But before we go into that, and before I introduce our wonderful guest today, I want to make sure that wherever you are listening to this beautiful voice, that you hit the subscribe button. And if you are seeing my beautiful face, you hit that subscribe button if it's on Facebook or if it's just on whatever your podcast, your favorite podcast platform. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Seth the Speaker, all platforms, and you can find out a little bit more about me at www.seththespeaker.com so we can connect, and I would love to do that. And don't forget too, you can also become a Patreon supporter, right, by going to patreon.com/healed, so you can get some exclusive information and also content, because there's some things that might light your mind, but I want to make sure we can dive in deep, and we don't have that much time to do it here. But as you become a Patreon supporter and also supporting this channel, you can get all the good right on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you Miss Richards, Caurel Richards.
Hello.
There you go. Good morning, good day. So, originally from Jamaica,
yes,
by way of Winnipeg, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, what part of Jamaica?
Kingston. That's probably what a lot of people hear often. Yeah, but
Kingston.
Yeah. If I'm gonna go a little bit deeper, I'll say Vineyard Town. Yeah.
See, you're going to speak some of that, what they call the patois.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
You'll hear it every now and again.
Every now and then. I can dig it, and nothing's wrong with that. I think the one thing that I connect mostly with is the food. Great food. Okay, yeah. Outstanding food. Goodness gracious. So anyway, I want to welcome you. All right, welcome you to Healed, and I want to say, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
The reason why I say that is because to overcome anything, you have to identify what it was that created that space that you no longer want to be in. So thank you and congratulations for that. You're an outstanding individual, and being able to come on the show and speak on that. So do you mind telling individuals about you?
Oh, wow. Who am I today? Well, I am intuitive. I am powerful. And these are affirmations that I tell myself every day because it's a great way to start the day. So who am I? Caurel is an intuitive. I'm creative. I'm multifaceted. I'm dynamic. The words will continue to flow, but for the most part, I'll say I am me. And I own whatever that me that shows up, whatever that day is, because I know that it's a part of my basket. And I say my basket because we all have our own experiences, right? Traumas, hurts, pains that we're trying to navigate the world with. So in my basket, what I have done is to own the experiences that I've had. And in owning them, I can move from a space of feeling that pain to a space of being empowered. So I am empowered, if that's the final word that I'm going to go with.
Hey, I like that. What y'all think, ladies and gentlemen? Boom, we're going to take that. All right. Now, we're talking about that freedom from the past. Do you mind taking us back to the situation, whatever the situation was?
There's so many.
We'll pick one, right? Because it's a reason why it's complex.
Yes.
Right? In different things. So first of all, if you don't mind explaining what that is from your own experience, what is complex PTSD?
Okay, so complex PTSD, in my experience, is having experienced multiple traumatic events over a long period of time. So if I could give you a rundown of the last 35 years, yes, I'm 35. The last 35 years, the first portion, and this is not to go from a space of victimhood, it's a space of acknowledging what I experienced as a result of how I perceived the world. Right. And as children, we don't necessarily have the tools. So we are looking to our caregivers to give us that insight to make sense of the nonsense, if I could say so. So for me, the first half of my life, I would say, was one of chaos. And for me, I didn't even know it was chaos because everyone around me had similar lives. So if you're so entrenched in something that is, you look at your friend, you look at your neighbor, and they're experiencing the same things, you don't know that you have a problem. You don't know that there's something going on that isn't necessarily aligned with who you are as an individual. So for me, that chaos of, experiencing rejection, abandonment, just not being protected as a human being, as a child, navigating this world on your own, not really understanding why you feel the things that you feel, why you're experiencing the things that you're experiencing, now familiarizing it and it now playing a part into the second half of your life. The way I perceived life was very traumatically. And it was traumatic for me because I was very sensitive. And even to this day, I'm very sensitive, very sensitive to other people's energies. I'm just a sensitive person and I own that now. But before, it was, in a sense, a way I interpreted it in a way that something was wrong with me. So for a very long time, I thought I was defective. I was just flawed. And in something being wrong with me, that must mean that I don't deserve love. I don't deserve to get protected. I don't deserve to feel significant. And I walked around in the world feeling like this. And subsequently, that dictated to me how I showed up in the world.
So I got a question about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Did you receive any affirmation from individuals or circumstances that was in line with your thought process, even though it was tainted, right? But did anyone outside of you confirm that that's why you feel the way that you do, or I don't love you, or is it something that individuals just did not give you the same level of care and things that you gave to them? Was that something that was in line at that time?
I can say yes. And it's all based on perception, right? It's perception versus what's actually happening in reality. Take, for instance, I remember, and this is a scene that comes to me very often. I remember walking home from school. I happened to be living close to where I went to school, and I walked home, and I always remember being alone. And I look at who I am today and how that connects to who I am today. Always being alone, always being, in a sense, self-sufficient, figuring things out on my own, just being very free-spirited, just saying what I want to say, how I want to say it, not really considering, okay, how will this affect others? How will that, be perceived by others? And for a very long time, I was told I need to be seen and not heard. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not deserving of love. I'm not, worthy of being seen. I'm not worthy of being heard. And then to hear that from another person. And I know that the culture that I was brought up into, that's just a normal statement. There's no harm, no foul play, but they don't recognize how that can be interpreted and how that can actually play a role in how I show up in the world in the future. Because if you hear that every day, it becomes familiar. And when you don't hear someone else say it, you start telling yourself that.
Understand.
So, yeah, when you want to show up and be your authentic self and just be, just loud and just be that light that I know I am naturally, I had to dim that down, or I chose to dim that down, because in my mind, what's running is I need to be seen, but not heard. So I say nothing. Even when I'm compelled to say a lot, it really influenced me to say nothing because that's what I was told.
I appreciate you saying that. And I'm sure, well, first again, I want to thank everyone for listening in to this episode of Healed. And what you said makes so much sense, to the point where I can think of times when I was either ridiculed or um, I wouldn't use the word scold, but it was frowned upon by other individuals that I may have loved, still love, respect, or seen in a higher level, that my natural self was so off putting to them because my authentic self was not theirs. So they feel as though in order for you to make it in the world or make it in this certain situation, you need to do this and not that. Instead of seeing that who I am got me here, you see. So you know what I mean? And so if you don't get that positive affirmation, say, wait a minute, you dimming your light does not do you any justice, and or does not hurt or make or break the next person, but you're here to do that. If you don't hear a person say that you know, like, and trust, it's not going to hit the same way. You almost need the same individuals that once said you should be seen, not heard, to come back and say, you know what? I was wrong in saying that because I see you holding back.
Yeah.
So did that ever happen to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to share a story that I don't think I've shared with many people.
Good.
I believe I believe wholeheartedly why I never spoke up about the violation that I was experiencing for a very long time by someone that was very close to me was because I thought me saying it, one, would get the person in trouble. And that person was so near and dear to me because they filled a hole, a really big gap. Because my father left when I was about 2 to go to the States. And this person filled a gap when I was about 13. And in them filling the gap, I just, in all honesty, never wanted to lose another person that filled that gap initially. So I already lost my dad in my mind. Um, and then this person filled it. They did everything that I needed my father to do. They taught me how to drive, they brought me places. They did everything that I thought a father would do. So when they started to do what they did, I was like, I can't speak up about this because one, I'm going to lose this person. And two, they're probably going to say I'm lying. Or there's so many thoughts that go through your mind because at that point, you've been predisposed to every belief that says that what is happening, while you may know it's not okay, at the same time, you're going to feel shame. And for a very long time, I felt shame as a result of that, to the point that I wasn't willing to talk about it. And when I did speak about it, it was to friends who basically gave me the okay to be like, oh, yeah, that's okay. I've experienced that. That's not so bad. At least he's not really doing it to the degree that he could be. It's almost like they minimized what was happening because it wasn't to the greatest extent.
So, okay. Now, how did your mind process that?
You internalize stuff like that.
Well, I guess the question is, did you see that or feel as though, since you weren't able to really express how this was affecting you and you grew, right? And you moved past that situation physically.
Yeah.
How did it affect your relationships mentally?
Oh boy. You're unable to trust people. And that inability to trust others comes from not being able to trust yourself. Because you question, why did I allow this to happen to me? Why didn't I say something? What could I have done differently? And you start to judge yourself. You start to shame yourself. You start to guilt yourself. And that causes you subsequently to just hide away from the world and not want to be in relationships at all. Like I love connection. I thrive in connection, and it's the scariest thing. And of course, I'm getting emotional, and I'm okay with my emotions now.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard. Even to this day, and I'm way past some of the things that I've, the self-deprecating thoughts, way past them now, but they're still here, as you can see. Like I wouldn't get emotional if that wasn't the case. But I have to share this story because I need people to understand that what happened to you is not your fault. The shame that you feel, the guilt that you feel, you are the child in this situation. For you to take on the responsibility of someone that was the adult that was supposed to be protecting you, that was supposed to love you, that is not yours to hold. That is not yours to bear. It is time for you to sit in who you are. And I know it messed up your identity. I know there are times where you're like, I don't know who I am because the people that I trusted, they told me otherwise. So how do I get back to who I am? And it is in healing, because I don't know if you can ever say you're healed in this lifetime. It's healing, right? You're taking it day by day. When something comes up, when you uproot something, when you're triggered, you say thank you. Because that's information for you to tell you what that wound is, and it's for you to figure out where that wound came from. And in understanding that, it gives you power, and that power is your greatest gift. And that's where I am today. It's day by day understanding that I'm not my experiences, but I can take from those experiences and understand or get a better understanding of who I am or who I was before all of these experiences, and slowly get back to that person.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. And excuse me. Excuse me. I had to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure if no one listened to what you said, or if anyone, excuse me, listened to what you said, it resonated. I wish that in certain individuals that I know, when I became aware of certain things, I wish I was able to communicate that then. It has taken me to listen to individuals like you, and to listen to your experiences without judgment, without saying, well, you knew better, or blah, 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 or without condemning, saying, well, you wanted that to happen. What did you do wrong? That's a problem, because I really do believe if you're truly operating out of love, you don't have to be in love with a person, but you can love that God within them and connect with them and listen. Say, hey, you, for example, I am a walking vessel that has been cracked. As I grow, the experiences that I have at whatever stage of my life has created a crack here.
Yeah.
However, I'm identifying those cracks, and every once in a while, you may see something leak out, right? But it doesn't have anything to do with you per se. It has to do with my healing process. Now, on the other side, we have to be able to communicate that to individuals to have a healthy relationship. So, with that being said, how have you been able to communicate that to, your next relationships, friendships, not sexual relationships, but anybody that you want to get to know? How do you communicate that to them, that, hey, I do have certain barriers and
Yeah.
this is why? How do you do that?
I just show up. And when I say I show up with all my basket. And what I do is, because I take responsibility for the role that I play in my life, I don't consciously I don't consciously want to project. And in the event that I do, I also own that, because I don't know what it is with me. I can pick up on when I have a role to play in a situation, right? And I know I have blind spots, because with CPTSD, it gives you blind spots, because you go from a space of, because naturally we are wired for connection. When you experience trauma and continuous trauma, you kind of, in a sense, wire yourself for protection. So that you're not thinking about connecting with someone anymore. You're thinking about first protecting yourself. And then if connection comes, yeah, maybe I'll let it in, you know. But however, once I feel safe, and I express this, I'm like, every time I feel unsafe, I explain why I feel unsafe.
There we go.
And then I have to question the stories that I'm telling myself, because there's the story that you tell yourself based on your past experience, and then there's the other story that you tell yourself based on what is actually happening. So what I do is I speak based on what I'm telling myself outwardly to the person, and then they can give me information which can tell me, okay, well, the facts that I have is what they're telling me, and what I'm thinking, they don't align. So I have to see it for what it is versus what I'm feeling or perceiving, because my thoughts really sometimes get the best of me.
You know, that's doggone it. That's a level of maturity that I believe, well, first of all, beautiful, well put. Two stories are happening. But again, that's a level of maturity that you have to be able to identify and get to first, to realize there's two things happening here. And I have to feed the most pertinent. I have to feed the most important. What is in front of me now based off of the facts? I know this person said this. They don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
I cannot blame them for what they did right here, because I'm expecting them, or I'm assuming they know that I've been hurt from the past. So I have to draw a line there that says there's a me here that's dealing with mess, and there's a me here that's trying to deal with it as well, but from the past and the future, right? In the current, in the present, in order to have a better future. So wow.
Yeah. It's a challenge at times, but that's my process. And it's important to include vulnerability. That's probably the key element. It's not saying, well, you made me feel like this. It's, I'm hurt. I feel hurt because of this. And then that's where the conversation starts. And it's actually having a conversation. It's not having the conversation in your head. It's already having the conversation.
But people do that, say, well, look, in my head, I just think, okay, what do you want me to do with that? Because I don't know how long that conversation's been going on. And who are you all having this conversation? Wait, how many of yous are having this conversation?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
having a conversation on all these couches, but not one you might need to be on.
Yeah. And it's running the risk of looking crazy, because it's gonna feel crazy to the other person, be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm okay with the fact that I've expressed that, because that's really what's happening with me right now.
Yes.
I'm thinking this and I'm perceiving it this way, and I just need you now to give me the information for me to make sense of what I'm thinking versus what's actually happening.
Doggone it.
Yeah.
Hey, so I like that. That makes a whole lot of sense. So now the next question is, of course, in jest, we would say, hey, look, this is making me feel crazy. But have you taken the steps to really talk to a professional about how to differentiate those conversations? Because you can have a young Caurel talking to the elder Caurel and them two are fighting, but
Oh yeah.
see, the young one gave the new one some sleeping pills. Okay, so now the old one is asleep, but now the young one is talking out of hurt, you
Yeah.
see, and out of pain.
Yeah.
But the conscious you, or the grown you, is taking a nap somewhere. So but you get what I'm saying?
I absolutely get what you're saying, and
Yeah.
just to give you some context as it relates to that, the way that we live our life, that blueprint is based on our subconscious, right? So
Right.
that younger version of you, nonetheless, so if you haven't healed or you're not healing the younger version of you, chances are that's where you're living. So that's who's really showing up, and not you, the person that knows better today. She isn't showing up. It's that 7-year-old, that 6-year-old, that 13-year-old that still nobody has really reconciled, or she hasn't reconciled what really happened, and give herself more perspective. Because even though I went through the things that I've gone through, the authentic me can still show up.
Come on. There we go.
She can still show up, and show up in all her glory, right? That free-spirited, say what she needs to say, she still exists. And I see more of her every day as I deal with more of the things that were there just sitting, waiting for me to just be like, all right, maybe we'll deal with you today, right? And it's in dealing with it on a daily basis, and it is daily for me. I'm not sure about anybody else, but it's daily for me because I interact with people, I connect with people, and the nature of my job forces me to deal with these things. Because for me to show up as the practitioner that I am, I can't go with my wounds. I can't go with what I would do. I have to hear them. I have to stay grounded to give them the guidance or to facilitate what it is that they need for their healing. So I am legitimately forced, to be effective at what I do. I have to do the healing for myself as well. And I heal through my clients too.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I love that. So, boy, this is so much to unpack. I really do believe we may have to do a part deuce, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So, if you can leave our audience with one tidbit of advice to help them to break those shackles, all right, from the past, what would it be?
Self-acceptance. Embrace your flaws, embrace the experiences that you've had, embrace your traumas. And when I say embrace, it doesn't necessarily mean that you live in it. It's taking the nuggets, checking the perspective, finding the truths, finding the untruths, and using it to your advantage, to take information for yourself, to be the person that you are here to be, not for anyone else, but for yourself, because you deserve that. You need that. That is for you, and it will always be for you. Just lean into that and show up for yourself on purpose and in purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And wow some more. I love it. I really do love it. So, boy, where can individuals connect? Are you on social media?
Yes, I can be found on Instagram only right now. And that's In Divine Time, and that's INDIVINETHYME.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
And you can also find me on my website if you ever are looking to deal with your traumas, get to the root of your pain. That is indivinetime.com.
Awesome. Okay. Well, listen, don't go anywhere. Okay. I'm going to close this on now. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Healed. And remember, like she said, this is yours. Okay, this is yours. You be what you want to see. And I want to thank her for being an outstanding guest. But and also I want to thank you for sticking around. And again, don't forget, you can always go to setthespeaker.com to connect. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's do that, right? If there's things that you want to do, things that you want to learn about, we can just go on the website and we can book a conversation. And also, if you're interested in starting a podcast, you know, the funny part is people say, hey, I've always wanted to start a podcast. And what they do is they get the equipment, but they are afraid. They are afraid to hit the record button because mentally they're not ready. Allow me to help. Okay. Allow me to help you to unravel your own gifts so that you can be okay with your own voice. And again, don't forget, I will greatly appreciate the Patreon support. So you just go to patreon.com/healed and you can see that, get some exclusive content, and then we can connect on that level. And you will be supporting this, right? So we can continue to help individuals like you heal. So I appreciate you, and we will see you soon. Have a good one.